because we have a new trial. And one side of this is the defense. They say it's murder. The other side says, no, this was self-defense-ish. She was shooting out of fear. Daisy Link, this is the defendant. She's on trial for killing her on and off partner, Pedro Jimenez, the father of her 2 children. Both sides agree that their relationship was absolutely toxic. Link is charged with second-degree murder. All this happened back in June of 2022. Since then, the defendant got pregnant in jail by another inmate. Now, that's something that caught the attention of a lot of people. That's not going to come up during the trial. The jury won't know about that, but it's a little side note. So let's go in and pick up the testimony. It's day 2 of this case. A sergeant with the Miami-Dade Police Department is on the stand.
Now, on June 29, 2022, did you respond to 1300 Northwest 15th Street?
Yes.
Why did you do that?
I was requested by homicide detectives to respond.
And do you know who the owner of that home was?
Personally, no. I don't.
But did you know his name?
Cisnero?
Is that a Robert Cisneros?
I'm not sure.
Is there anything that would refresh your recollection?
I could look at my report and see.
If you can, don't just look up when you're done.
Yeah, Robert Cisneros.
Great, thank you. Did you make contact with him?
I didn't. I made contact with the detectives. The detectives were the ones making contact with him.
Okay. What, if anything, did you do after arriving on scene?
Once they allowed me to access the DVR, that's exactly what I did. I went straight to the DVR and I started working on trying to get the export.
Okay. Did the homeowner give you consent, or did you have to get a warrant to get that DVR?
I would have to look at my...
Please.
So it looks like it was verbal.
Verbal consent.
Verbal consent.
Okay. Now, can you explain to the members of the jury what DVR system Mr. Cisneros had?
So he had a Shield DVR, which is it's a regular CCTV system. It's not cloud-based. It's not MVR. There is no client, anything like that. It was just a basic DVR system.
Was it an older model, newer model, if you knew?
I wouldn't know that information.
Is this a model that you were familiar with?
Yes.
Can you explain to the members of the jury what that DVR had, like, in order for you to download it?
To export?
Yeah.
So normally with that system, you would go to their main menu, and you would either look for the backup or the export option of the system. So the route that we were going to take that day was USB, okay, which would be the native export. Did
it have a USB port that you could plug in to download?
Yes.
Were you able to download it on scene?
No.
Why not?
For whatever reason, when I went, the dates were available and the system actually went back to April. However, when I went to go back to the times to actually export the times, for whatever reason, the times were not available.
Okay, but the date was?
Date was.
Was there any evidence of any kind of tampering anyway with that system when you were viewing it?
No, because for me to say that there was tampering, I would have to say that the entire hard drive was completely wiped out or formatted.
Can you explain that to the members of the jury? What do you mean by that?
With DVR systems, you can't go back and delete just one incident or one day or 1 hour, 2 hours. When you format a hard drive within the DVR, it completely wipes out the entire hard drive, meaning everything will just disappear.
Okay.
And in that case, the date was available, everything went back to April, which means that nothing happened. There was no way it was formatted.
Okay. Now, before we move on, were there specific days or times of interest that you were attempted to cover?
Yes, if I could look back on my report, though. So they wanted June 25th, 2022, 3 a.m. to 4 a.m.
Now, were you able to confirm at the time, before you were trying to retrieve that video, that the DVR itself was in working order?
The DVR was working, okay.
Yeah. Now, when you said that you were unable to download it via a USB, what, if anything, did you do next?
Once I wasn't able to export, I let the detectives on scene know. And at that point, I believe they received consent from the owner to take the DVR for further examination.
Did you take possession of the DVR?
I did.
And where'd you go with it?
Once I get the DVR, I take it back to the office.
And what did you do at the office with that DVR?
At the office, I plug it into DVR Examiner, and at that point, I attempted to conduct DVR Examiner on it, and for whatever reason, the actual hard drive was not scanning. It wasn't even allowing me to get to the point where I could export or even request to export.
Can you explain a little bit more what that means?
So I would plug it in to DVR Examiner. I would scan the DVR to actually pick up the hard drive, but it wasn't picking up the hard drive at all.
Was there any evidence of any kind of tampering when you were doing that?
No,
Why not?
because I couldn't even get to the hard drive.
Okay. So the fact that you couldn't get to the hard drive was evidence itself that there was no tampering?
To me, evidence enough that the actual hard drive was damaged or somehow corrupt, because I was never even able to enter into it. I was never even able to get into it enough to do anything.
Okay. What after that? Did you inform anybody that their video was unable to be recovered?
Yes, detectives. Detective Denoris.
Chinois.
Sir, yes.
And what, if anything, did you do with the DVR after that?
Once I let them know what was going on, I just let them know the DVR is ready to be picked up. I documented everything, and that was it.
When DVRs are in this manner returned, either because they cannot download those videos or things like that, is it a likely outcome, possible outcome, that everything gets wiped from those DVRs?
So normally when we return the DVRs, we never plug them back in. And the reason for that is because if you plug it back in and there is, for whatever reason, data on there or anything like that, that they will need later down the line, if you plug it back in, it normally resets the hard drive altogether. So a lot of times we don't do that, because just in case a detective says, hey, we need more time, or we need to pull extra time, we just got more information. So we don't plug it in for that reason.
Okay. Did you purposely delete any video in this case?
No.
Is there any evidence that anyone purposely deleted any kind of video
No.
in this case?
Objection calls for speculation.
Oh, you can answer.
No.
Okay, I have no further questions, Your Honor.
In cross-examination of the witness.
Good morning.
Good morning.
So, ma'am, I just wanted to clarify, because you said a few moments ago that
All right, we'll get a break, but first, Rebecca Woodland is with us, trial attorney. This case, self-defense-ish, saying that she was scared and discharged the weapon. There's a 911 call in this case where the defendant can be heard saying, basically, Pedro, get back, no. And the jury's going to have to decipher what's going on. And 911 calls can be so pivotal, can't they, in a criminal case where jurors put themselves in the caller's position. They try to determine if the person's lying, making it all up. Did she already shoot him and call, oh, Pedro, back off? Or was this an actual event? What's your take overall on this case from what you know?
You know, overall, look, she's fighting for her freedom here, right? We have her partner is dead in the middle of the night. This is not in the middle of the day. She's claiming he came at her. She was struggling. She tried to back him off with a gun. Now, whether or not that happened, a lot of the 911 call will come in, because we don't know what her state of mind is, and we don't know the situation, because as we just heard, a lot of this video footage and all is not available. So we can't see or hear anything that may be a depiction of the scene. We're only going to hear now, possibly from the defendant, but most likely not, right? Because the defendant doesn't have to take the stand. She has the right to have the prosecution prove beyond a reasonable doubt that this was second-degree murder. We don't even know if we'll hear from the defendant in this trial at any point in time. So what the jury is going to say is, beyond a reasonable doubt, did the prosecution prove that this was second-degree murder, which means an intentional act against Pedro, the now deceased boyfriend, or was this self-defense? And that 911 call, I think, will be more than anything, will be a determination from the jury once they hear that, whether or not that's accurate and whether or not that depicts the time and place in an accurate manner to show that she purposely did this or she was reacting to what she thought was deadly force against her.
Yeah, absolutely. It's going to be a fascinating case and difficult for the. I agree with you. I don't think she takes the stand. There's too much, I think, history with those two fighting, and that the 911 call could be her testimony if they're happy with it. We will wait and see.
Exactly.
Stand by. Let's get a break. When we come back, we'll get the cross of this Sergeant Fernandez on the stand. What happened to the missing video on that DVR? We'll find out.
I'm Vinny Politan. Welcome to Closing Arguments.
What's happening here?
It's unreal. Let me show you exactly what happened.
Closing Arguments with Vinny Politan, tonight at 8/7 Central, only on Court TV.
A wife accused of murdering her prominent attorney husband, and the defense involves blaming her own sons?
Victim to Verdict with Ted Rollins. New episode Saturday night, 8 Eastern and Pacific.
Only on Court TV. Welcome back. Let's head back to Miami, Florida for more testimony in the murder trial for Daisy Link. Prosecutors say she murdered her on and off partner, Pedro Jimenez, father of their 2 children. This was back in June of 2022. Her defense is saying that the victim was, quote, unhinged and out of control, and Daisy had to shoot him to get away. Both sides agree their relationship was toxic. Link is charged with second-degree murder. Let's go back into the courtroom now and pick up right where we left off.
You were asked about tampering, and I believe you said tampering would show that the entire hard drive was wiped. Am I quoting you correctly?
If you're asking if certain times were deleted from the hard drive,
Right.
you can't delete just 1 hour or 2 hours or 1 day. When you format a hard drive, it'll format the entire thing, which means I would not be able to go back to April 29, 2022, which was the earliest recording on this DVR.
So just so I understand you, so you're saying if somebody were to tamper with a DVR hard drive such as this one, that would result in everything being deleted?
Yes,
Okay.
because it's a hard drive within the DVR and it's not NVR or any other, there's no other method to actually extract or delete any video.
All right. As far as you know, when you took the hard drive into possession, the footage on it, it had footage on it, correct?
There was footage, but not the footage that the detectives were looking for. So the time frame that they were looking for was not there.
Okay. So I want to pinpoint exactly when it was that you took possession of this item.
When I took the DVR,
Yes.
so I was there at 9:21 a.m., so somewhere around that time,
This is
on the 29th, June 29th.
June 29th. You arrived at the home
Correct.
of the owner of the home who had the DVR.
Yes.
Who else was there when you arrived?
Detective Guinors and Detective Morales.
And you said that you didn't make contact with the owner of the home, correct?
I don't make contact with the owners.
So you only interacted with those detectives.
Correct.
And it was the detectives and not the owner of the home who gave you the DVR, correct?
No, the DVR was on scene.
Okay, so you watched some videos on the scene?
No, I don't watch videos. I only export the videos that they're requesting.
Did you unplug anything?
I unplugged the DVR once I noticed that it was no longer an option to export on scene. And they advised that they gave consent and that they want to take it to the office.
Without telling me the contents or what it is that you saw, if anything, did you see anything, any footage from that DVR before unplugging it?
No.
No. Okay. So how is it that you know that, well, you said, so you weren't talking about what's on the DVR. You just tried to download it on scene and you were not able to do that, correct?
Correct.
And that's when you took it with you,
Correct.
correct? So is it fair to say that you yourself weren't able to verify what videos were or were not on the DVR at that moment? Because you didn't see anything.
I didn't view any video. Yeah.
Okay, so you can't say what videos were or were not on the DVR at that moment?
No.
All right, thank you. You get back to the station, and at the station you find what, that there are no videos on the DVR?
No, when I got back to the station and I plugged it into DVR Examiner, it will not scan the hard drive. So I was never able to pick up the hard drive to get to the export.
You couldn't get into the hard drive?
No.
Were any attempts made to, rather than get into the hard drive, to at least view what was on the hard drive through another screen or another monitor?
No.
Why not?
Because I went through the export option to try to get the times that they wanted, and it said no record, no data, so the times are not there.
So, from your perspective, when you checked, are you saying that there was no video for you to watch, even if you could watch the video?
I wouldn't go back to watch the video. I only export.
I understand, but your goal is to download these videos to be watched so that you can watch them at a later time, correct?
No.
What do you mean?
I don't watch the videos. I only export the video and then I provide it as evidence to the detectives.
Let me rephrase. Your goal is to get this video so that somebody, like a jury, can watch this video at a later time, right?
For me, it's for the detectives. I don't do anything as far as the case goes. I get the video, whatever it is that they ask for, camera, dates, times. I get that video, I put it onto a USB, and then I would put it onto a disc. Then at that point, that's the evidence.
Let me rephrase my question. Let's assume that the detectives asked you to do this because they wanted to have a video, which is evidence, which they could later arrange that video to be played in front of a jury or a judge at a trial,
Okay.
right? Okay? So your purpose was to get that video so that they can use it later, right?
Yes.
You tried to download it for that purpose, and you weren't able to because, as far as you can tell, the DVR didn't have any data on it, correct?
It had data. It just wasn't exporting the dates and times that they were asking for.
All right. So you couldn't export it. However, you know that the detectives were able to watch some of the video before it was taken from the owner's home, correct?
Normally, when they ask us to come out, it's because they've already reviewed video.
Okay. So we know that it was working and you could see videos on it before it was taken from the owner's home.
All right, we're going to slip in a commercial break. We'll head back to Florida for more of this case against Daisy Link right after this. Welcome back to Court TV Live along with Julia Janae. I'm Ted Rollins. Good to be with you on this Thursday. We're going to head back to Miami now for this newest live trial that we're watching. It's a woman charged with the murder of her on-again, off-again partner.
And the defense here is self-defense. Daisy Link told the police that she did shoot her boyfriend, Pedro Jimenez, and she claimed, though, to have been a victim of his abuse for years. Prosecutors say, though, that she's lying and that she fired on her boyfriend in a fit of rage while he was running away from her.
He was shot outside the house in the back, apparently. We'll hear, I'm sure, from the medical examiner, and the jury will get that information. There's this 911 call that I'm looking forward to hearing where she apparently says, stand back, get back. And the jury's gonna have to decide whether that was legit. Or why, if it was legit, why run after him and shoot him?
Right, especially if you've had the time to make that call. Let's listen in, though. We're hearing some cross-examination of the Sergeant Fernandez with the Miami-Dade Police Department. The defense seems to be spending a lot of time on how the evidence was actually presented and how it was looked at.
What was that, sir?
We know that this DVR has footage which the detectives supposedly had already seen, and that's the reason why they're sending you to retrieve it, right?
Yes.
You're not able to retrieve it.
No.
So wouldn't it be effective to plug in that DVR, which you're not able to get anything from, plug it into a monitor to see if you could still play the videos, just like the detectives had done back at the person's home?
It would have been the same thing. I'm just taking it from one monitor to another. What I was able to see on scene is the same thing that I was going to see back at the office.
Right, but you could see it, and then you could record it another way, right? Like
No.
a body-worn camera, or with a phone, or just record something so you preserve it as evidence, right?
There was no evidence. I was not able to export the dates and times that they were asking.
And I think we're not understanding each other. I understand that you couldn't download it, but my question is, your job is to retrieve this so that it could be watched later. We've established that, right? So you can't download it. So as an alternative to accomplish your task, my question to you is, isn't it true that you could have found the monitor, plugged in the DVR, play the video that you're looking for, and record it with another device, such as the body-worn camera that you're wearing, take out a phone, record it in any other way, and that way we have a recording of the evidence this evidence which pertains to a murder case. Isn't that a solution to the problem?
Are you asking about playback?
Yes.
Like to actually play the video?
Yes, ma'am.
My job is not to play back the video. My job was to respond and export the video.
Okay.
But he's asking, did you have the option of playing it? And
Yes, the playback option is there. But my reason for responding was to export the video. And when I went to export and it will not be exported, at that point we took the DVR back to the office.
All right, so all those other options that I just explained to you, none of that was done, correct?
No.
And at some point the DVR was returned to the owner, correct?
Yes.
And if the owner, when he got the DVR back, found that everything had been erased, can you explain how something like that could happen?
If I run DVR Examiner, like I said, I don't plug the hard drives back in for that reason, because it usually resets the hard drive or wipes it out completely.
So you wouldn't have wiped it out completely?
No.
Right.
No.
Okay. So if we have a DVR that was in this home, and this DVR had about a month's worth of footage on it, then it's taken from the home. And then sometime later it's returned to the home. And now when it's at the home, it's working fine, but all that month-long footage is gone. How do you explain that? How does something like that happen?
I can only tell you that I unplug the DVR, plug it into DVR Examiner, and normally when we plug it back in, which is the reason why we don't do it, we don't plug the DVRs back in when we return them in case detectives need more data later. Normally when you plug it back in, it formats and resets the hard drive.
So is it fair to say that as you sit here, you are not able to tell us how it was that a month's worth of footage was lost while it was in police custody? You're not able to tell us how that happened?
No, sir.
Thank you.
Detective, just to clarify, when you plug in the DVR to DVR Examiner, you do not plug it in again, right?
No.
And that's because why?
We don't want to plug it back in case the detectives need more data later on. If we plug it back in, it formats and resets the hard drive.
And so the hard drive then would be blank
Correct.
because it's been reset.
Correct.
So when a homeowner gets a blank DVR, a DVR back and plugs it back in, it would reset?
It will cause the reset or the format of the hard drive.
Which would delete everything.
Yes.
Great. I have no further questions, Your Honor. I'm going to go sidebar.
You can shut down.
Oh, how important is that surveillance video in a self-defense case?
It's going to be very important for the defense because they're going to make a big deal out of it.
They absolutely are. Let's bring in our guest, see what she thinks about it. She's a criminal defense attorney. Jessica Lettingham is with us. Jessica, what do you think about the Miami Police Department losing a month's worth of video, and it's in a self-defense case?
I think it looks really bad for the Miami Police Department. That is going to really help her case because she can say they knew I did self-defense and they intentionally got rid of it. Whether that's true, probably unlikely, but I mean, it really works out well for her.
Yeah, because this is a neighbor's DVR system, and it shows, because the neighbor says, oh, I saw it. When they looked at it, it was there. They could see what transpired. It was during the downloading process, and when they took the DVR back to the police station, somehow it gets
somewhere.
it's wiped out, so
And-
this jury will never see it. They're just going to hear people saying what they saw on the video,
they remember.
and then the old "why is it gone?" Well, and then next thing you know, it's a conspiracy.
You mentioned something even before the attorney asked this was why didn't they play it? Why didn't this sergeant play it and then record it with her phone? That could have been an option, but
Yeah, they didn't do it. So at the end of the day, this is what the state has on their side is a bullet in the back and a man running away and somebody shooting that individual. How does the defense get over that hump?
I mean, you can get over that by he wasn't running away. He was going for another weapon. This is a huge struggle of a fight. It's all very chaotic. I mean, if you can really show, I mean, obviously they can't, but they are trying to say she was afraid for her life. There is a big fight going on. He was constantly abusive. It really doesn't matter that she shot him in the back if she has a whole lot on her side to show that he was abusive. And then the fact is, as we've seen before, when there are issues with police, when, there's just a little bit of malfeasance, whether or not it's intentional or not, defenses love to exploit that and juries really latch on to it. So she has a good chance of being able to make the jury feel sympathetic for her and believe her story.
so we're calling this a toxic relationship murder trial, Jessica. And I want to know what you think about how much more difficult it makes a self-defense case when you have sometimes mutual combat. You're going to have things that both sides can show where one or the other, the victim or the defendant, was abusive to the other. I'm even thinking of a case that's there in Miami, the Courtney Clenny case, where you have the victim and the defendant who had this long back and forth of mutual combat that both sides are going to be trying to use. Does that bring down in the minds of jurors a self-defense case, even if in that moment perhaps there was this fear that she had?
I don't think it does. I think that it really shows that there's a lot of violence here and that there is a pattern of abuse from both of them, and they both have a right to fear. And just because 9 out of 10 times he's only beating her to a certain point and she's only beating him to a certain point, that 1/10th time where if someone brought a gun to it or a knife to it, where it just elevates just a little bit, then you can go with self-defense. So I think the toxic environment kind of actually, if the defense does it right, it can really help. They can say, look, she's fought him a bunch of times. She's hit him. She's never been afraid for her life. But this time it was different. And that's why this time it was self-defense and not murder.
Okay, we'll see it play out. We'll get a break. When we come back, we're going to hear from this neighbor. Cisneros is his name, I believe. And he's going to talk about the video, his video system. It's his system that's all gone.
Hopefully he's got a good memory for the prosecution.
Yeah, we'll see that play out. Stay with us.